Welcome to our posts. Today we will see stories of our slash Am I the Butthole? Am I the butthole for not doing anything for Christmas this year and making my husband livid? So I'm a stay-at-home mom with 3 kids. My husband works full-time and gets an okay salary, but he's tightened the grip on spending for the past 4 months to be able to save up to go watch the football event overseas. He's literally obsessed with anything to do with football. He said he rarely ever gets to do what he wants, and so I didn't want to judge him since it's his money eventually. We discussed plans for Christmas and he told me to handle everything since he won't be back till December 20th. He told me he had put aside money for Christmas decoration, food, gifts, kids' needs, etc. The money in total was $100. I was completely shocked. I told him $100 for an entire family's Christmas celebration was ridiculously not enough. He shrugged, saying it's all he's got, but I pointed out how he's paying for his friends and his girlfriend's travel expenses. He told me to just take it, but I said that if he decided to leave me with just $100 then I won't be doing anything for Christmas. We had lots of arguments and couldn't get this resolved. He's in Qatar now. He left days ago. Yesterday, while I was cleaning, I found an envelope with the same $100 and a note from him telling me to make it work. I sent him a message that I've decided that I won't be doing anything for Christmas with this little money, period. He was livid. He just kept sending an angry message after another, calling me spoiled and telling me to stop expecting to live like I was still living in my parents' house and to stop trying to rob the kids of enjoying the holidays like the other kids. I haven't replied, but he's livid, saying I'm punishing him for going and trying to guilt him using his own money. Next story. Am I the butthole for making a post about my daughter's favorite celebrity being rude to us? My daughter and I were recently on vacation. We spent the day in an area that's known to have a lot of rich/famous people, and towards the end of the day we saw one of my daughter's favorite celebrities, we'll call her A, walking out of a store. My daughter ran to the store, but when she got near A, she was stopped by A's security. They said that A's there with her daughter for her daughter's birthday and wants to focus on her daughter. My daughter was very upset because she's been a fan of A for a very long time, so she tried again for a picture but was turned away. My daughter was crushed, so later that night I made a post talking about my experience with celebrity A. How she wouldn't let anyone go near her and her daughter, the fact that her security was rude, and her not being willing to stop for a couple seconds for a picture. I understand it's her daughter's birthday, but a 1-minute interaction with a fan isn't going to ruin her day, and if it does, that girl needs to learn that the world doesn't revolve around her. The post ended up getting a lot of attention, and a lot of people actually said my daughter and I were being entitled for expecting A to interrupt her daughter's birthday for everyone that wants a picture. My husband also saw the post and said he couldn't believe that I would bash her for trying to spend the day with her daughter. I'm not trying to bash her for spending the day with her daughter, but she wouldn't be where she is without her fans, so I think she at least owes it to them to take a picture. Am I the butthole for making a post about my daughter's favorite celebrity being rude to us? Next story. Am I the butthole for cheating to get a promotion? I put the cheating in quotes because I don't think it's cheating, but my colleagues disagree. I'm in my 30s and everyone involved are between 30 to 50. About 6 months ago, our unit vice president announced his retirement by the end of the year, so the company went into search mode. We recently found out our manager will be promoted into the vice president position, so now his position needs to be filled. Which brings us to my current situation. I'm single with no kids, so I have no other responsibilities except to myself. I really want this position because it's a visible position and a great stepping stone to my career, as seen by my manager's promotion, and it'll almost double my pay. Once we found out about our manager's promotion, I started to take on extra projects and taking work home. I leave work at my normal hours, then work from home until 9 or 10 p.m., even on the weekends. All of those extra hours have allowed me to take on harder projects that other people turn down and complete more than anyone else. My manager and the vice president have noticed and complimented me on my hustle. My colleagues also noticed my increased production. Last week, a work friend asked me how I'm able to do all of those projects in 8 hours, and I told her about my nights and weekends. Word got around, and this week during our weekly conference call, my colleagues told me to cut it out. They accused me of cheating because I'm putting in the amount of hours they can't, so I'm skewing the production numbers. I refused and don't think it's cheating at all and argued they can put in the same amount of hours. Some said they can't because of family time, and others refused to work hours they won't get paid for. We're all on salary. We spent most of the meeting arguing about it. Am I cheating? Am I the butthole? Next story. Am I the butthole for telling my dad that I'll gladly spend Christmas with him if he gives me back my college fund as a Christmas gift? I am 23-year-old, had issues with my dad after my mom died and my stepmom came along. I hated a lot of decisions that were made, but what has left a long-lasting impact was taking my college fund to pay for my stepbrother's surgeries. Unfortunately, he's dead, died last year at the age of 16 from a chronic heart problem. I put my distance but still see my grandparents and uncles, aunts, cousins, etc. With the holiday season coming up, Dad started talking to me through some relatives, close relatives. He went on about his overwhelming feelings of loneliness, his upcoming divorce, and invited me to spend Christmas with him because he's alone and heartbroken. As a response, I told him I'll gladly spend Christmas with him if he gives back my college fund in a form of a Christmas gift. He and the others didn't like my response. He thought this was harsh, and my relatives said that I was a judgmental, petty, greedy butthole to say this to him after he's lost so much. They said he did all he could to save his stepson, my stepbrother, life, which they described as noble, and that he doesn't owe me a thing. I went home after a big argument with my uncle, who came at me for what I said. Now I feel like crap. Maybe I should have just calmly, politely declined the invite and not said this to him and made him feel guilty for how he handled my stepbrother's situation. Next story. Am I the butthole for accepting my family's Christmas invitation despite my husband being upset? I am 32-year-old woman. I met this wonderful man Philip, 36-year-old man, 2 years ago. We got married 4 months ago. For context, I have a 10-year-old son Billy from my previous relationship, and my ex isn't in the picture. I have to admit that Philip's relationship with my family isn't so great. They would disagree on a lot of things. For example, he had an argument with my dad when he said that he was keeping their grandson away from them, but Philip stated he wasn't and that he couldn't visit with Billy because he had work. I was sick at the time. The latest argument was what made things worse. My mom and sister were discussing natural remedies. They're into this stuff. For my niece and Philip, he's a pediatrician, called both of them ignorant for not using meds instead, which caused a huge argument and Philip being no longer welcome at my parents' house. Now they'd sent me and Billy an invitation for Christmas but did not include Philip, which I expected given how strained their relationship has become. I called my mom to confirm that I'll attend, but the minute Philip found out, he went off saying he could not believe I was fine with my family excluding him and then agreed to go and leave him behind. I told him it's their celebration and I don't get to decide their guest list for them. And also, I'm not leaving him behind because we did not have any plans for Christmas. He said he thought that we'd automatically celebrate together, the three of us, but now I'm taking Billy away from him as well. I thought that was a bit melodramatic because it's literally just few hours at my parents' home, but he insisted it was about principle and respect. We had a big argument and I said that he basically alienated himself by continually picking arguments with my family, but he started ranting saying it wasn't about the fact that they didn't invite him, but the fact that I was willing to let him spend Christmas alone without me and Billy. We went back and forth on the issue but do not seem to reach a solution. My parents are used to spending every major holiday with Billy. So you can see how much pressure I'm getting from both sides here. Next story. Am I the butthole for telling my parents to pick between me and my sister for the holidays? I am 28-year-old man currently pretty much estranged from my family. I have a younger sister, 27-year-old, Tori. When one of my friends Brendan, who is 28-year-old, started dating Tori, I hated it at first, but eventually I gained a best friend. They got married in 2018 and I was the best man. Brendan is now like my brother, we are that close. In 2020 Tori left Brendan for another guy. Reality TV type crap. My parents were incredibly upset, as was I. My sister moved in with the guy immediately. My parents knew I was pissed but had to support their daughter. I went NC with Tori and LC with my parents. In 2020 when Tori's second wedding happened, I didn't go. Me and my dad had it out over it. My mother tried playing peacekeeper for the family. My parents then started giving me the silent treatment. When 2020 holiday season came around, it was the height of COVID. My parents said that I should just do my own thing this year. Because with me going out a lot, they didn't want me spreading diseases. My exact response was, if you are worried about catching diseases from other people, shouldn't you be more worried about Tori? I mean, she's the one who likes to sleep around. Me and my dad had another fight, especially due to his family over everything mantra. I hardly spoke to my family in 2021. My parents would send me text like, when you are ready to apologize, we'll be here type crap. I responded with a Bible verse about adultery and how they support it. I was berated again, and we hardly spoke until October of 2021. Last year, I was told we were doing Thanksgiving at Tori's place, and if I wanted to come, I needed to apologize to Tori and her husband. I laughed and ended up going to Brendan's family's, where Brendan's mom posted me with her family on Facebook and tagged me with a quote about family being those you choose. I never told her to post it, but my mom saw it and went apeshit, asking for me to come over and talk, and even commented on the post. So this year my plan is to go to Brendan's family again. My mom called and said she wanted to host this year. I asked if Tori and her husband would be there. She said of course they are family. I said so was Brendan, but I saw how you treated him and me, so no thank you. Yesterday my dad called and said my mom is distraught and has been for years. She wants us all to get along, so I need to do the right thing. I said I'll come if my sister isn't invited. He said that he wouldn't do that to family. I said he did that to me for 2 years. He claimed I did it to myself. My mom is now saying it was my dad that has been the hard ass about this the whole time. I said she should have divorced him then, because I'm not putting up with his crap anymore. Either my sister isn't invited or I don't come. I've now had some extended family reach out and say my parents are upset and hurt. I said my parents were totally okay with not having me around for 2 years. Am I the butthole? I hope you guys like this video. If you did, make sure like, comment, share and subscribe the channel or posts.